What's the most embarrassing or cringy thing you've accidentally shown someone, or something they accidentally saw while using your phone or computer? Was talking to some cute girl, it was going well, and gave her my phone to add me on Facebook. Her profile was the first profile on the recent Facebook searches. I was kind of on the flip side of this, when my uncle was going through pictures of my baby cousin on his phone, and swiped too far to show me a picture of my auntie, standing completely naked in a doorway. The image is still burned into my mind. I have a similar experience with my grandpa. He was showing me an old picture book, when he flipped to a picture of my topless grandma at the beach. It was awkward. Father-in-law was looking at photos on my phone with me. I got a text from my wife that said, "I've been a naughty witch. You need to come home and slap my ass." I turned to him and said, "What kind of daughter did you raise?" I learned that day, A. Turn off preview. B. Do not joke about a man's daughter. Way back when, I was playing a bunch of World of Warcraft. This was back when people were making funny machinima YouTube videos constantly, and I had them downloaded to my computer so I could show my friends. Then one day, I set up a very early version of Pics, video streaming software, on my computer, and I hook up my TV for a small party. Little did I know, Plex scans your media library, and then runs out to the internet to find a cover image that Plex thinks matches your movies, so that you have a thumbnail to click when you want to watch that video. For some of my WoW YouTube videos, it found pictures of orcs and elves effing, and threw that up on the screen. The girl I liked at the party, what the F is that? Me. Borderline speechless. I have no ducking idea. Had the minister of my church at my house. He wanted to upload music from his laptop onto my Zune. Tells you when this was. He turns it on and the Zune immediately displays a topless picture of my fiance, a girl he's known since birth, having been best friends with her parents. He just clears his throat and says, "I didn't see that." The rest of my time with him that day was incredibly awkward, but he never brought it back up again. Edit. To clear up any confusion, the picture was on my Zune that I had taken. The pastor knew nothing about it prior to seeing it. Not exactly accidental, but when I was 15 my mom was snooping through my phone and found a text that said, "I wish I could have a girl with boobs so big I could suffocate in them." That was a cool fun time for me. Handed my mom my phone to show her a picture of something or other. Didn't think. Next thing I know, she starts swiping. "Mom, you need to stop. Right now. Swipe. Why? I never get to see your pictures. Swipe. Swipe. Stop." Attempt to grab phone. Look of horror on mom's face, because I have pictures of my dick on there. Dude I used to lift with, his phone is face up on the floor next to the bench bar. Literally every day at the gym she'd be texting pics of everything. What's funnier is she'd be texting him, "Come home to have this," and he'd just keep lifting. It was odd. I went skydiving with a group of buddies. The first guy out of the aircraft got a badass slow-mo video of us all coming out of the plane after him on his GoPro. Naturally we all wanted a copy of the video. He left us his GoPro to plug into our laptops, as he went to grab stuff out of his car. If you've never used a GoPro before, you know when you plug it into your computer, every file pops up with little thumbnails. The first guy to copy the video can't help but notice what looks like a naked girl in one of the videos. He stupidly clicks on it. It turned out to be our buddy with his current girlfriend, and he was giving her the most violent paw-worthy throat effing you ever saw. And to top it off, after about 5 seconds he stops, yanks her head back, and hawks up a big loogie and spits it in her mouth. We all lost it. We couldn't stop laughing, and he turned it off just in time before he came back inside. We can never look at either of them the same. A friend was showing us his holiday pictures, and accidentally swiped too far and showed us all a selfie of his asshole, then one of his balls when he tried to fix it. In my younger years working in desktop support, we had a guy complaining that his computer was running slow. It was literally full of horsepower. This was back in the 90 MHz Pentium days, and long before people had anything better than a 57.7 baud modem in their house. I had to show my boss and point out that obviously, this guy was using company bandwidth to download non-work related material onto his company laptop, clearly in the office. This was also the same dude who got caught putting breast milk in his coffee, so there may have been a few issues there. My partner showed his friends some pictures from a vacation years ago, and he scrolled too far back and he accidentally showed them my nudes. I was 5 feet away and died. Me and my friends played this game in high school, where we'd send each other the most vile, disgusting images we could find. We would all be playing Xbox, get bored, and someone would send some nasty sh to indicate the game has begun. We'd stop once everyone agreed that the last thing sent couldn't be topped. It almost always devolved into porn of various pop culture icons, usually in video games or cartoons. One time, my uncle called me in the middle of this game. We chat, and he asks to speak to my mom. I give my mom the phone, completely forgetting about what's happening. I go back to my Xbox, hear my troglodyte friends giggling about what they are sending, and start looking for my phone. Oh, crap, I run downstairs, after I remember that Pandora's box of animated atrocities is opening up in my mother's ear right now. As I turn the corner, we lock eyes. Shock and disgust. She turns the phone to me, and on the screen, clear as day, is an image of Mario in a BDSM leather suit, farting on a nude Princess Peach. I took the phone and never said a word. Never heard a word about it either. I went back upstairs and kept playing the game. I was helping a man with some kind of intellectual impairment download a Bible app onto his phone. I had to go into his browser to search something for him, and it was all poor. About 50 tabs open, each showing what term he'd put into Google, and the search terms were the kind that a 10-year-old would use. I finished getting him the app and attempted to peace out, although not before having to tactfully decline giving him my phone number. That would be when my sister saw my vag. We recently reconnected. We had been estranged because of my absolutely insane mother. We were laughing, talking, just generally catching up on 20 years of life, and of course we were showing one another pictures of our families, houses, and friends. I thought, oh, I'll pull up Google Photos, because then she can just open albums and see each person or whatever all at a time. And I forgot that one of the albums is called Naughty, and Google Photos chose a very naughty pic for the album cover. Despite my begging it to choose another, I had the app open to an album of kid pics when I handed it over. She closed the album, swiped to see what other albums she wanted to look at, and I heard, oh, she told her fiance we got to know one another really well in that first meeting. Sexy pics of me in lingerie, meant for my boyfriend. My mom saw them scrolling through pics from a trip I took. Older man caught me looking at boobs on my phone during a bus ride home. I quickly scrolled up, realizing that I was in public. He leaned over and said, hey, we can share. Got off 3 stops before my own. During college, my girlfriend worked night shifts, so I would sometimes crash at her place. That way I'd be there when she got off in the mornings. One night, her roommates had a few people over to drink, and I, being alone, decided to crank one out. Spent about 3 to 5 minutes watching some material, wondering why the audio wouldn't work on my phone. Then I hear an eruption of laughter from the kitchen. It was a small apartment. Turns out I was the last one that connected to the Bluetooth speaker they were using, and was blasting my poor audio to an apartment full of people. I have never been so embarrassed in my life, and I lay there for what felt like an eternity afterwards, listening to them all die laughing. I shared a link to my photographer friend's website on Facebook. After she and I did a project together, I body painted some models. She took the photos. What I forgot was that there was also a page of nude photos of me, from a photoshoot I had modeled for. I'm not exactly shy about nudity, but I also didn't mean to show off those pics to everybody I knew. I also once sexted nudes and dirty requests to my dad, instead of my boyfriend in a drunken mistake. I worked at a fast food chain as their IT guy, but started in one of the stores in the chain, and was known by all of the elderly regulars there. One of them asks me for help with something on his phone, accessing his email or something to that effect, and I instructed him to open his web browser on his phone and search for something. The very first autofill response that came up was, "I accidentally impregnated my stepdaughter." Edit. For those who are curious, I unfortunately do not know if he did, in fact, impregnate his stepdaughter. I was on the receiving end of seeing something I shouldn't have. Early on when I was working at Geek Squad, a girl and her boyfriend came in with a MacBook, saying she was having trouble emptying the recycle bin. I, forgetting that Macs don't have a right click button on the trackpad, clicked the right side of the trackpad, thinking it would bring up the menu to empty the bin just like a Windows computer. Except it didn't, and the trash bin opened. Inside there were dozens of pics of this girl's tits, spread eagle, asshole, everything. I saw everything. The girl was on the other side of the computer and didn't see anything I was doing, but at this point I was freaking the F out, and of course the computer froze for what felt like 10 minutes, while the trash bin folder was still open showing all her nudes. During this time, the girl's extremely muscular, juiced out boyfriend walked up asking her how things were going. Once he asked, she started grabbing the computer to turn it towards her. Thankfully by the time she grabbed the laptop, I was able to close out and empty the trash bin. She asked how much it would be. I told her no charge and went on my way. I went into the back and my boss said I looked like I had just seen a ghost. I told him what happened, and he was just laughing at me the rest of the day. Bet you learned how Macs work real quick. Huh, yep, I did. Years ago, the internet was talking about some celebrity's nude scene with full on dick. So I googled it because I'm curious. There were gifs and everything. Well, later on, I went to open the internet to show my mother something at dinner, and there's a penis gif just waggling around. One time, my partner started browsing through my photos and came across 50 plus photos of different kinds of Crocs. Because I couldn't decide which ones I wanted,